Hello, Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're excited to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We just wrapped up a two-day championship in Tahlequah, Oklahoma on Lake 10 Killer. Right now, I want to let y'all have I want you to get up and give a big rousing welcome for your Yamaha Ride Waters Championship Top 10 anglers. Come on out, guys.
Hey everyone, Ryan Lilly here with Old Town. Super exciting day. It is awards day where all the top 10 anglers got to walk across the stage and learn what place they came in. I'd love to bring in Anthony Garcia, one of our pro staffers from California. You've seen him all week.
All right, in sixth place, taking home $1,700 with 172 inches, California, Anthony Garcia.
Congratulations. I mean, you're going home, hopefully making a profit after all the gas money and lodging.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a blast. I had a pretty good week. Practice wasn't so good. Day one wasn't so good, but pulled it together on day two, kept that positive mentality and was able to put up a pretty good bag.
Yeah, our boat guy mentioned, he's like, man, I can just tell he's got like a more positive energy on day two. When we got to you were smiling big. You were really having fun on day two.
Yeah, no, I knew I needed to change something up and kept it positive. I lost some really big fish in there on day one. I knew that if I put my head down and just grind it out all day, it would come together. And I was a little short, but I still had a blast. I went from 39 to 6, so I can't complain.
Yeah, it was really exciting to watch. It was awesome to hang out with you this week. Congratulations. Where are we going to see you next?
Next I will be at Clear Lake for their No Limit tournament. So I'm the defending champion on that guy. So we're going to go try to pull a back-to-back win on Clear Lake.
Awesome. Well, good to see you. Travel safe. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I found Kristine Fischer. I've been trying to connect with you the entire tournament, but it's been a little bit crazy.
It has.
I would love to hear how your experience went this week and if you have any good news to share.
Yeah, so, I got to 10 Killer. Usually these like Highland Reservoir style lakes are the bane of my existence, but I was pleasantly surprised. Practice was incredible. I had caught amazing fish. It seemed like everywhere I went. Had a really solid pattern around floating docks. Did some live scope stuff as well. I didn't execute as good as I would have liked to for the tournament. I bet I ended up in maybe the 30s somewhere, 30th place. Didn't have the result I wanted, but honestly, the lake was beautiful. I met some amazing people that it was their first time fishing a big championship. Got to meet a lot of amazing guys in the community, and of course I had a lot of good friends that did well. My boyfriend got second, so overall, I've got no complaints. Yeah. Fishing is ebbs and flows. You have some good ones, you got some bad ones, and learned a lot at this one.
Yeah, it's kind of your thing, your staple to fish shallow and
yes.
to come to a deep water smallmouth fishery. I mean, how did you break it down?
So I kind of broke the lake down in a couple of sections. You've got your river section, you've got your mid lake, and then you've got your south lake. I knew the south lake is going to be your deep, really, really clear water. So I kind of focused in on that mid lake stuff. I found some area that had a little bit of color in the water, but surprisingly enough, I do like power fishing, and I threw a swim bait the entire tournament around floating docks. And what I found is if you could side scan the docks and find the ones that had the brush tied to it, the bait were really relating to those docks, and you could almost call your shots. Especially the boathouses where there were a lot of shade, anything with a lot of brush on it, you'd skip a swim bait around there and it was almost a guaranteed catch 2 or 3 fish under it. The only problem was I figured that would be a late afternoon deal. To most lakes, that's how it is. The sun gets up, the bait sucks up to those docks. It was the complete opposite for this tournament, and I had a morning thing that didn't work out. By the time I got to the docks, there were 20 kayak anglers in there, and they're all like, yeah, the bite was on fire like 2 hours ago. I was really surprised by that. So I scrapped together and made something work, but...
So where can we see you next?
I am going to actually be fishing at Texas Bass Nation on Caddo, probably my favorite fishery in the country, so I'm stoked about that. That's next week. I head to, we got PK, Wright Patman, PK, back to back I think after that, and then I'll be back in Tennessee for the Guntersville Bassmaster in May.
Awesome. Well, it's really good to see you, and I mean, good job. I mean, I understand this not being your strength, but to place in the top 30 is pretty impressive. So.
Yes, I will take it, and just appreciate it very much. It was a lot of fun, and it's always good to see you, Ryan.
Awesome. Thanks, Kristine.
Yeah, thank you.
We're getting into the hardware now. In third place, taking home $5,000. I'm shaking a little bit. 178.25, which was tied for second place. Wow. So third place, you almost made it, but you still get to go home with a lot of money and one of them big, beautiful catch trophies. Let's bring out from South Carolina, Bennett Nall.
Bennett Nall from South Carolina. He fishes from a Sportsman PDL 120. and we were pretty thrilled to see how well he did in the tournament. I would love you to tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and your experience this week on the water.
Absolutely. My name is Bennett Nall. I'm from South Carolina. I've been kayak fishing for 3 years now, and Old Town really helped just stay in place. The PDL cover water, and I've never had an issue with that kayak. I mean, it's been a bulletproof drive, a super stable kayak. I love it. But
that's awesome. I'd love to hear about the tournament. Like, how did it go for you day one, day two, pre-fish?
Absolutely. So practice, like day one, I launched. I caught a few fish at a one ramp. Left, found like one center block just had fish on it, and they kept reloading. And I kind of left. The next 3 days of practice were super tough. I caught 1-2 fish, and it was a hard one. And came out to the tournament, fished the same spot I found on day one of practice, and I caught 4x5 fish off the same center block off the end of the boat ramp. I mean, I could hit the boat ramp with my cast. I was so close, and 4x5 came off of it. One fish came maybe 100 yards from there, and it was just all off that same thing. Day two, I went back to it, tried to make it work, and they kind of hit them too hard day one. They wouldn't eat, so I had to pack up and go to a different ramp I'd fished day one. But it actually had so many more of them center blocks. And I just ran center blocks, them big cement anchors that we got around the marinas, and was able to put together a solid day two limit to pull me up there. So
that's awesome. And we just learned that you were tied for second place. I mean, the drama, and you lost out by what, a quarter of an inch?
A quarter of an inch. But I had a late day flurry on day two where I caught 3 in the last 20 minutes. I can't complain with where I ended up.
Yeah, you're going home with third place, a nice, beautiful trophy, and third place, you won how much money?
$5,000.
$5,000. Where are you going to spend it?
I don't know yet, but I'm happy God put me here. So
that's awesome. Anybody else you want to thank?
Just friends and family back home.
Awesome.
That's about it.
Well, it's really nice to meet you. Congratulations, and I'm sure it won't be the end of us talking.
Absolutely, man.
All right, take care.
All right, in second place, winner of that tiebreaker with 178.25 inches for the weekend, catching some phenomenal bass on Lake 10 Killer from Texas, taking home $9,000, Guillermo González.
So I'm here with number 2, Guillermo González. Man, it was hard fought. It was really impressive to see how consistent you were day 1 and day 2. I'd love to hear how it went.
Well, as you know, day 1 was awesome. Going into it in practice, I knew I wasn't getting as many bites as a lot of guys, but I knew I was catching the right ones, and day 1 proved that. I knew I was going to have to fish clean, and I fished extremely clean on day 1, and that's why I had a big sack. Day 2, it was a little bit strange because I actually got a lot of bites on day 2. I got a lot more bites than I had gotten all week long. And I fished pretty clean. I just never really got those big bites that, honestly, I was expecting to get any minute. And sometimes that happens in fishing. I'm not going to complain. I had an amazing tournament, and I already can't wait to the next one.
Would you say that a lake like this, clear water, deep, smallmouth, is it your wheelhouse, or is it something that you had to kind of figure out?
Absolutely not. It is absolutely not my wheelhouse, but I kind of found a way to make it work for my own strengths. I love throwing that bigger swim bait, and not that I would call myself a swim bait guy necessarily, but it's just a thing I love to do at this time of the year, and I felt very comfortable doing it. I had to do it a little differently than I typically do it. I mean, I think there were times where I was throwing that swim bait, and it's not really that heavy, and I was throwing it in 30 feet of water, and the way that fishery works, if a fish sees it from 10 feet away, it'll just come up and throttle it, and I had a lot of fun with that.
And you said 6 inches? 6 inches?
Yes, 6 inches.
Gosh. Yeah, my jaw hit the floor because everybody else I saw out in the lake was throwing just the micro, baits, and that's really, that paid off, which is awesome. Where can we see you next this year?
So my very, very next event is actually next weekend. It's going to be on Caddo Lake. Super excited. We've had a lot of kayak tournaments over there. They are always a ton of fun. It's actually going to be a Bass Nation event. But then my next big event for Bassmaster is going to be on Possum Kingdom.
Yeah, great lake.
And that is, I've got a few favorite lakes in Texas, and that one's on the list.
I don't blame you.
So anyone who's listening, if you want to come fish a lake, literally, I mean, you couldn't pick a better weekend to be on that lake. Now is the time. So I would encourage anyone to come out. You might catch the biggest fish of your life.
Well, congratulations, G. I hope that you have a safe trip home, and we look forward to seeing the rest of your season.
Appreciate it, Ryan.
With 180.5 inches, taking home $25,000, Drew Gregory.
All right, so I'm standing with the champ. Congratulations, Drew.
Still can't believe it, man. This is nuts.
I know you've talked about it, but would love to hear just an abridged version of how everything went from pre-fish to championship.
Sure. So, obviously I love fishing rivers and creeks and moving water. So basically I just went, the first day of practice, kind of all my cards were in that river. So if it didn't work out, I probably wouldn't be standing here, obviously. But I caught a 20 and a half and a 19 and a half there, pre-fishing, a largemouth and a smallmouth. I knew they were there. I just continued to work on my kayak. Like I said on stage, like a NASCAR, crew chief, just working like an engineer on getting it to draft shallower and still get the motor to eat full speed, right? Just go shallow as I can go to go upstream as far as I could go. Using sometimes my paddle in conjunction with the motor. It was some steep gradient, like you had to climb sometimes. So that was kind of my strategy during pre-fishing. Just let me get further up there than anybody else is going to get, because they don't have, my setup and they can't probably get that far. And honestly, a lot of the best fish were closer to the ramp, but I just wanted to leave those alone, thinking they were going to get split up and cannibalized by the other anglers. But a few key fish definitely came really, really further up there, and obviously it was just enough to pull out the win. So
and what was the magic bait?
It was really weird because most tournaments will have like a certain exact bait that's really the one that like did it all. But, I caught that big 22-inch that got big bass on a chatterbait with the new chatter spike, a Project Z chatterbait, which has always been my favorite. And then that was like the only fish I caught on that. And some of them were on spinnerbait and some murkier water. Some of them, a real important fish was a 19.5-inch smallmouth on the Gobius from Z-Man, the new one they came out with. And then there was another key fish, the new Zal Dangerous swim bait. I caught one fish on it. I put it on just for a big bite, and I got that 21.25-inch smallmouth. So lots of different baits. It wasn't one exact thing. The jig, I forgot to say the cross-size power finesse jig. I did catch several on the jig that were critical. So just kind of junk fished around different baits,
Awesome. And, I'd love to give you a minute. You've got this new series that you're starting up. We're part of one of the stops. I'd love for you to take a minute to pitch that, because it sounds exciting.
We are excited to have you guys as a part of it, and excited to raffle off that Old Town for pediatric cancer through the Punt Foundation. But basically it's the Kayak Adventure Series. You can go check it out at kayakadventureseries.com. And the whole premise is cool because we use these historic theaters at all of these small, medium-sized towns we go to, the cool ones with the lights in the marquee, and we get you guys all in there for the results. And honestly, it feels a lot like the stage we were on today. And you guys saw a video clip of the big bass that I caught on that screen, and we're gonna have that going at the theaters on stage for the top 10. We're gonna hopefully have a clip of every one of those guys on the water, whether our camera crew followed them or they filmed themselves with their GoPros, which, by the way, it's sponsored by GoPro. The headline sponsor is GoPro, so huge thanks to them. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun and have a festival component along with it. So bring your friends, bring your family, bring everyone.
When's it kick off?
Kicks off. The first one is Shoaly-Palooza. They all have like a festival name. Shoaly-Palooza, where you can catch your very first shoal bass. They get big. I've caught a couple over 7. Very big fish, 24.25 inches, by the way. So come catch a shoal bass. It's one of the rare black bass species. May 3rd and 4th in Thomaston, Georgia, kicking off right then.
Is that where we're going to see you next?
We will probably see me there next. Yeah, that's probably actually where I'm going to be next. I'll put all my focus onto that for this next month and a half, and then you'll see me at the BASSMASTER Kayak Series on Guntersville Lake next.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Drew.
Thank you, sir.